Hi all, Nat here and welcome back to Black Dog Fitness. Just a video following on from our last one, so that was beginner runner tips. Today we're going to take a look at how you can run faster, tips you can use to help you beat your race times or goal times. So let's jump right in. Okay, so running form. To be as efficient as possible you need to have good form, so your head should be straight, eyes looking towards the ground about 10 to 20 feet in front of you. Nice relaxed shoulders, so don't hunch forward, don't lean. You'll notice, especially newer runners and those that are conquering a longer distance, say the marathon, you'll start to lean in a bit more towards the end as you start to fatigue and your core muscles come in. You'll naturally arch, so just try and keep it straight. Shoulders nice, elbows 90 degrees, so you don't want any sideways movements of your arms, forward. But when you bring your arms forward for power, you're coming forward from the shoulder, so not from your elbow. So just little things to keep an eye on. Don't bring your hands too high up. If you clench your fists as well, that'll also affect your breathing, so keep your hands nice and relaxed by your sides, 90-degree angle. Another thing to watch out for is your bounce. So this is also called vertical oscillation. And basically, when you're running, you may notice you go up and down rather than forward. You can track this with some Garmin watches. I'm not sure about Polar. I know my watch does track it. So basically, you want to make sure as much momentum as possible is going into forward movement rather than up and down. Obviously, the more up and down you go, it's wasting energy, and it's also putting more pressure and more shock onto your joints, especially your knees. So just keep an eye on that and try and propel yourself forward rather than up. And then just nice relaxed breathing, find your breathing rate. There's a lot of talk as well about cadence and 180 steps per minute, and there is some science behind it, but it won't work for everyone, and it's more for elite runners to monitor their cadence. I'm more of a run to your natural stride and your natural gait, and improve from there. Obviously, if you want to pick up your cadence, we'll cover that in another video, but for now just work on that form, and that'll help with your efficiency. Okay, so tip number 2, that's increase your weekly mileage. So regardless of what race distance you're aiming for, building up that weekly mileage, it helps your body build endurance, it builds stamina, it gets your legs, muscles, tendons, everything used to running further, so the shorter distances then seem a bit easier. It's just a good way to build some nice easy mileage in, get your aerobic system up, and you'll notice it'll help. A lot of beginners jump straight into speed work, which we will cover later, but especially when you're first starting out, or if you're not a very experienced runner, shall we say, building up that base mileage, it can bring it, even if your miles are run slow, because the majority of your miles should be at a slower, easier pace anyway, and just improving and increasing the number of those miles will naturally, your speed will naturally improve. Okay, number 3, recovery. This is something that's actually overlooked quite a lot, and really it is just as important as your training. There's no point in having a great training plan if you're then not recovering and resting and fueling properly. So make sure you're getting enough sleep, staying hydrated, especially before the big event or a big training session, fueling some extra carbohydrates. After training, again with the carbs, some protein as well to help your muscles recover. Just make sure you're looking after yourself, foam rolling, stretching, things like that can all help your muscles and body recover so that you're able to perform well in your next session. It's also important here to note that when we get to the workouts part, try and avoid having 2 challenging workouts on consecutive days. So if you do, let's say, a speed session on the Tuesday, Wednesday should then be either an easy recovery run, a rest day, active recovery, so walking, yoga, or a cross-training day. But don't then do another challenging speed workout or a hill session or something that's going to be too challenging on the same muscle groups, because they do need to recover. With niggles, I mean, when you start increasing your mileage and you start putting in the emphasis on the speed work, you are going to get some aches and pains when you're pushing yourself to the limit. That's natural. The idea is you get to know your body and you know what's a niggle, you know what's an injury, you know what you can train through and what you should rest. Obviously, if you get a persistent niggle, rest it, go and get professional advice for it. If it's something you think you can train through, obviously take it a bit easier, keep an eye on it, monitor. Injuries, even if it's just a slight injury, don't get tempted to train on it, because you will make it worse and you'll be out for longer than you should be. And obviously that's going to then have a detrimental effect on your speed and you'll have to build back up in the long run. It's just not worth it. So yeah, recovery, really important. Okay, number 4. Add in a weekly long run. So again, regardless of your race pace, your race distance goal, add in a run that's longer than that. I mean, you might find some of your weekly runs are a little bit longer, but this one should be your longest run of the week. Obviously, it will depend on your distance goals. So marathon runners, for example, will build up and their longest run in a training cycle will vary, typically from 18 to 26 miles, depending on their experience and their plan. But for 5k, 10k runners, just aim to have, I mean, for most people, it's typically a Sunday long run. Build up and run further than your goal distance. So a 10k runner, for instance, might want to run up to 10 miles to just build up that endurance, build up their aerobic base, and then it'll make the shorter miles seem a bit easier as well. So it's all about just getting your body more efficient at running and more efficient at using oxygen and burning fat as well. So yeah, just add in a longer session than you normally would, and again you'll start to see the benefits of that with your speed. Okay, number 5, the fun part, workouts. So typically I go with an 80-20 split, so 80% of my mileage is easy base mileage, and then the other 20% will be from workouts. So these are typically your speed work, so your tempo runs, your intervals, hill sprints, pyramid runs, fartlek runs, your ones where you're not just running, that there's goals that you need to hit and paces that you're aiming for. And obviously they are more intense and challenging than your typical runs, and that's why they take up less weekly mileage. There are all types of different speed workouts. We can go into VO2 max runs, Yasso 800s. I will create another video on the intricacies of those, but basically find a plan that incorporates speed work into it. A lot of the times if you're doing intervals or sprints, they will be at a faster pace than your goal race pace, and the idea behind this is obviously because they're shorter in duration, they can be run a bit more intense than your actual race pace, and when it comes to race day, race pace then doesn't feel as daunting as it did before you did these training blocks. Obviously these are more intense, as I mentioned earlier, so don't do these back to back. Make sure you have a rest day, active recovery, or just an easy run day in between. You don't want to overdo it, you do need to recover from these. So again, find a plan that incorporates them. You can find out what obviously you should know what your goal race pace is, and then each workout will be tailored around that, like I say, usually a little bit faster. I'll cover those in another video, and I'll also put a link below in how you can work out what your training paces should be, so check that out as well. Okay, number 6, strength and cross training. This is something, again, like recovery, often overlooked. People, when they think about running faster, it's just about sprinting and running and working on that, but strength training and cross training can be really beneficial, especially in longer distances. It will help with your form, and it will prevent what I talked about earlier with the hunching and the core muscles and stability. And in the shorter distances, it can help give you the explosive power and get you used to the lactate acid that you'll feel building up as well. So yeah, it is definitely beneficial. I mean, it can be strength workouts, whether it's weights at the gym, whether it's cross training as in cycling or swimming, just something that's lower impact, because obviously running can be quite an impact sport. So swimming, that's very low impact on the joints, and really good cross training, helps your aerobic endurance as well. So just things like that to give you your joints a bit of a break from running, but you're still actually working out. Number 7. This is definitely more of a tip, and it is about having a positive mindset. A lot of the times during runs, whether it's a race, whether it's a training run, a tough workout, you'll feel like you need to stop. I had it a lot when I first started out, because I started with a run-walk programme, and I found it quite difficult when the walks were being shortened and the runs lengthened. My head was saying I needed to stop even though I didn't. So you're going to have this battle, and it's important to remember that your head is going to tell you to quit before your lungs need to, before your legs need to. So having a positive mindset and a way that you can motivate and push yourself is really important. Obviously motivation's a personal thing, and we're all very different, but remember your reason why. Why do you want to achieve your goal? How are you going to feel when you do achieve it? Have a little mantra, so when things get tough you can just keep pushing yourself through. Just know that races especially, they are going to be tough, they're going to be challenging. You're going to feel tired and you're going to want to stop, especially when you're pushing to the limit. So working on that mental endurance can really help push you through. Sometimes, your legs are ready to go, but if your mind's not completely in it, you'll struggle. So just make sure you're aware of the mental side as well. Okay, number 8. This is going to be a recurring thing with a lot of our videos, and it's consistency and patience. Improving in anything takes time, it takes consistency, dedication. Running is exactly the same, especially when it comes to improving speed. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. You're going to need a structured plan, you're going to have to give it your all, and just keep pushing yourself through. Obviously try and monitor your progress along the way, have a baseline so you can see where you started and where you want to get to. Monitor that. When your race comes around, if you don't hit your target, ask yourself, why. Did you hand on heart 100% give your all in training and on race day? If you did, okay, let's reevaluate how far off were you. Was it a bad day? Were you quite far off your target? Do you need to go back to the drawing board in terms of plan? Do you just need a bit longer? Was your training working but you're giving yourself too short of time? If you didn't give it your all on the day or in training, obviously that's something you need to go back to the drawing board to and be honest with yourself and hold yourself accountable to that, and make sure that with your next training cycle you do give everything and leave everything you can. And when it comes to race day, it can be tough, especially in the longer durations, when you have a longer training block or some tough sessions. I can find it really tough in training sessions to hit my race paces. You haven't got that race atmosphere, you haven't got people around you cheering or pushing you, and it all has to come from yourself, and that can be really challenging. But it's just important, obviously, that you're honest with yourself and you give your all, and then, like I say, you reflect and you look back and you make another plan, and then you adjust and you go from there. It's never going to be straightforward and simple. If it was, everyone would be doing it, but they're not. So find your goal, stick to it, whether you need another training cycle, whether it takes you a little bit longer, reevaluate and go from there, but just don't give up on that goal. Okay, so there's some tips to help you improve your race pace, help you run faster. Like I say, we will do another video covering different workouts that you can implement. So if you're creating your own training plan, it will give you a better understanding, or if you're following one, just to help you understand why you do certain sessions and the aims of each type of run. Like I say, the key is be consistent, remember your goal, work hard because it is going to be hard work. Just keep at it. So please hit the like button, subscribe to us if you haven't already, and we'll be bringing you more tips, tricks. If there's anything else you want us to cover or want to see, drop us a comment below and we'll see what we can do for you. Any questions, as always, you can leave us a comment, contact us through the website or Facebook, Instagram. All of our links will be in the description below. So yeah, check us out, and until next time.